Should I and should you invest in Bitcoin? I don't know. These are my thoughts. This is what I'm going to say. These are just my beliefs. I currently don't have any position. Well, I have like $1 after doing some like tutorial thing on Robinhood. Other than that, I don't have any position in Bitcoin. There's just a few current events and a few like things that I just don't really make sense about Bitcoin. If anyone has any ideas and like can comment and can like kind of answer these like quell these fears, please leave it in comments below. I would love to learn more. I would love to be like answered, right? But I've done a lot of research, and in the end, it just makes me more worried the more and more research I do, and like the more and more events that I see occurring. I'm not trying to spread FUD, right? If you make money on Bitcoin, good for you, right? I don't care. I have no skin in the game. I would just love to hear like any responses and someone answer my questions. I don't know. So for Bitcoin, there's more or less two like mission statements or like two like use cases for Bitcoin, right? And both of them just don't really make that much sense or just haven't really been playing out. For the first use case, it's a non-inflationary decentralized currency, which is awesome, right? That makes sense. You don't want 2020 to occur and just have skyrocketing inflation again and have everything be more expensive. So with this, there's a few problems. Number one, people see Bitcoin as an appreciating asset, right? It's a risk asset and it's an appreciating asset. If you had $1 million home and then you tokenized it and now you have 1 million tokens that represent the worth of that home, right? Would you ever spend that token? In my case, I probably would never spend that token, right? Because it's appreciating. In other words, what I can buy today is less than what I can buy tomorrow or the next year or in 5 years with that same token, right? Same thing with a house, right? You wouldn't, like, I wouldn't be like, okay, you can have this room and I'll trade you this room for like a year's supply of food. You want to hold on to that thing and you don't want to sell it because it's just going to keep appreciating in value. So what would be the use case for when you would ever use Bitcoin? I would just never use it. So this is the same reason why the Fed wants to have a target of 2% inflation, because deflation is bad, right? You look at deflationary economies, it's just bad because no one wants to spend any money. The theory being, why would I buy the Apple today if tomorrow it's going to cost 10% less, right? I'll wait until tomorrow or the next week or the next week, right? No one would really buy any products or anything, right? Because they know that I'll get it cheaper in the future. So that's why I don't understand. I don't see why anyone would use Bitcoin, which means that like that kind of use case is just out the window, in my opinion. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm definitely open to like any thoughts, any comments. Now the second use case, digital gold, right? Bitcoin is supposed to be a safety asset. Like if anything happens, everyone flocks to Bitcoin. Really? Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that? If the world's gonna end, you're gonna go buy Bitcoin? Do you remember what happened just a few months or just a few weeks ago when Iran attacked Israel? Do you remember what happened to Bitcoin? It dropped like a rock. You're telling me that Bitcoin is a safety asset? It's a risk asset. For sure it's a risk asset. So again, that use case is kind of out the window, right? It hasn't applied ever. And in fact, we can also say Bitcoin only rose when people had excess money, right? Like for example, 2020 when everyone got their stimmy checks, right? That's when crypto started rising, right? Because people had excess money, why not buy Bitcoin? Oh, two things, right? Two things I completely forgot to talk about. So number one, I don't see why a powerful government that's already doing really well, right? Why would they switch to Bitcoin, right? That just makes it like that they just lose all their power, right? So why would the states endorse that? Why would like China endorse that? Why would like the European Union endorse that, right? You have all these smaller countries that are buying Bitcoin and saying, "Oh, we're switching our currency to Bitcoin." Like, would these big countries, would they basically allow that, right? Imagine Bitcoin went from 50K to like, and then like 10x, right, to 500K per coin. That basically means that all these smaller countries that have basically had a head start in buying Bitcoin, they basically just 10x'd their entire GDP. They 10x'd like their entire their country's worth, right? I feel like no country, like no. Why would that happen? That just doesn't make sense. I don't know. But also, people say, oh, Bitcoin, it's supposed to make it anonymous, right? It's supposed to be like, it's easy to trade. I mean, maybe. But, I mean, like, what do you have to do when you create a wallet? You have to put in your some type of identifier, right? If you're in the States, you have to put in your SSN. In that case, you could say maybe the transactions are like anonymous if you don't know my SSN, but the moment you know my wallet address and that it's linked to my SSN, you know everything. Why would anyone, if they're buying drugs, if they're doing something illegal, right? Why would anyone use Bitcoin anymore? You just go back to cash. And at the end of the day, cash is the only thing that's going to stay anonymous. You can't hide and you can't run away from your SSN. And like, as you say, everything on the internet, once it's on the internet, it stays on the internet, right? I don't know. The use cases, it's beyond me. I don't know. Now, aside from these two cases, there's also like just current events that just make me really skeptical about just the use of Bitcoin, and like I just feel like it's really easily manipulated. I don't know. Maybe it's my tinfoil hat speaking. Maybe it's just my time in the stock market has just got me completely jaded about how like easily manipulated a lot of things are. But I just find it really, really convenient how, although it's historically Bitcoin rallies after the happening, which on a tangent, why would that increase the price? Making it harder to mine for Bitcoin will increase. I don't see it. I don't see where people are getting these numbers. Like everything's just TA. Like there's no fundamentals to it. I don't know. If someone can answer that too, that'd be wonderful. But tangent aside, just this time, right? This time specifically, Bitcoin rallies before the happening. And did you notice? It rallied just enough to the point where all the billionaires and the big money and the institutions that invested and got scammed by FTX, they were able to make it out with 18% profit. It just so happened. And then after that, Bitcoin starts to fall a little bit. Isn't that just kind of weird? Like, okay, like maybe the ETFs pumped it, but then again, the fact that they were just able to pump the coin that high, right, went from like 15k, 20k to now like 60 some k, and they just pumped it, and now they're like miraculously able to come out of the FTX scam unscathed. I don't know. It's just too convenient. I don't know. Like, I'm totally open to like any ideas, like anyone have any pointers, but in my opinion, it's all just TA. It's all just like I don't see it. Like the use cases don't make sense. The current events just make me more skeptical. I don't know. It just feels like the institutions and big money have just been pumping the coin just so that they can get back their money, and then they're just gonna say, "I see ya," and they're just gonna give the bag to you to hold, right? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my tinfoil hat speaking. But those are my thoughts. I don't know. If you have any thoughts, please let me know. Please like teach me. I would love to. I mean, why not, right? It's just a different form of investment, and like, I mean, so many people are hyped. I would like to understand why, right? I'm not trying to spread FUD, right? I would just sincerely like to know how this makes sense at all. Please. Thank you. That's it. Super random video. I don't know. Just my thoughts on Bitcoin. Have a good one.